Dale Earnhardt Jr. just said something about Denny Hamlin that a lot of people weren't expecting, and once you hear it, it makes total sense. Here's the thing about NASCAR drivers. Most of them hit their 40s, and you can just see it happening. The wins start drying up. The speed isn't quite there anymore. They start making small mistakes they never used to make. It's just how it goes. Father Time catches up with everyone eventually, or at least, that's what we thought. Because right now, at 45 years old, Denny Hamlin is doing something that should not be possible, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the most respected voices in all of NASCAR, just went on record to talk about exactly how rare and special what Hamlin is doing truly is. So, let's get into it. Last week, Dale Earnhardt Jr. sat down with journalist Jeff Gluck for the very first episode of a brand new podcast called the Gluckcast. And during that conversation, Jr. said something about Denny Hamlin that stopped a lot of people in their tracks. He admitted that over the last 2 years, his respect and admiration for Hamlin has grown more than he ever expected. Not a little bit, a lot. Exponentially, as he put it. Now, keep in mind these two men raced against each other in the NASCAR Cup Series for over a decade. Dale Jr. knows exactly how good Denny Hamlin is. He's watched him up close, raced him door to door, and seen what he can do behind the wheel. So when Jr. says his appreciation has grown, that's not a small thing. That means Hamlin is doing something now that even his old rivals are noticing. And what exactly is Hamlin doing? Well, last season, Denny Hamlin led the entire Cup Series with 6 wins. 6. He finished second in the championship, just behind Kyle Larson. And he did all of this at 45 years old. Think about that for a second. Most drivers at that age are either retired, on their way out, or struggling just to stay competitive. But Hamlin isn't struggling at all. He's not just hanging around. He is one of the best drivers on the track every single week. The speed is still there. The instincts are still sharp. The results are still coming. And that is exactly what caught Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s attention. On the Gluckcast, Jr. explained his thinking in a really honest way. He talked about what naturally happens to athletes as they get older. He said that as people age, they start cutting corners. Not because they want to, but because it feels like they don't need to put in every single piece of the work anymore. He described how it creeps in. You start thinking, I don't really need to do that training session. I don't need to do that preparation on Tuesday. I can skip that part. I can drop this part. You start telling yourself that it's fine, that it won't make a difference. But as Jr. put it so clearly, you can't. You gotta do it all. To be great, to be at the top level, you gotta be all in. You gotta be 100% committed to it. And as you start dialing things out of it, you'll see the results change. That's what he said, and he meant every word of it. The reason that quote hits so hard is because Dale Jr. isn't just talking about Hamlin here. He's also, in a very honest way, talking about what he and other drivers have experienced themselves. Getting older in motorsport is hard. The demands of being a full-time NASCAR driver are enormous. You have to be in great physical shape. You have to prepare mentally all week long. You have to study the cars, the setups, the tracks, the competitors. It never stops. And the temptation to ease up on some of that, especially when you've been doing it for 20-plus years, is real. Jr. knows that. Most drivers who've been around long enough know that. But Denny Hamlin hasn't eased up. Not even a little. And that is what makes this so impressive. Jr. went further in the conversation and placed Hamlin in a very exclusive group. He said that throughout NASCAR history, there have been a small number of unique individuals, real anomalies, who stayed at the very top of their game well into their 50s. Drivers who didn't decline. Drivers who just kept going, kept winning, kept performing at the highest level long after everyone expected them to slow down. And Jr. looked at what Hamlin is doing right now, at 45, with no signs of slowing down, and said simply, "We're watching Denny. He's one of those guys." That is a massive statement, because those anomalies Jr. is talking about, they are a tiny group. They are the exceptions in a sport full of very talented people. Being compared to that group, by someone who raced at the Cup level for as long as Dale Earnhardt Jr. did, is about as high a compliment as you can receive in NASCAR. But the story doesn't stop there. During the same podcast conversation, Dale Jr. also addressed something that fans have been asking about a lot lately, the idea of him coming back to race. It started when Tony Stewart jumped into a Truck Series race at Daytona earlier this season. That got fans fired up, and suddenly everyone was talking about whether Dale Jr. might do something similar. Maybe race at Daytona. Maybe give it one more shot. His own wife even suggested he should do it. But Jr. shut that down pretty quickly, and the way he shut it down actually tells you even more about how much he respects Denny Hamlin and today's Cup Series drivers. He said, "A part of me thinks that anyone, myself included, is absolutely naive to think that you can go to Daytona and compete at the highest level after being out of the car for almost 8 or 9 years." He didn't stop there. He kept going, and this is where it gets really good. He said that thinking you can just show up and compete with guys like Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin after being away from the sport for nearly a decade, that's actually a disservice to those drivers. It underestimates them. It dismisses how much work they put in every single week just to be as good as they are. And then he said something that was genuinely moving, coming from someone with his background. What they do is elite. I admire it. I remember what it was like to do that every single week, and I knew how often you need to do it to be the best. Jr. also got personal about it. He admitted that he misses racing. He misses it a lot. He said, "I miss it terribly. Don't think that I don't want to do it." But he also acknowledged that going back just to go back without being fully prepared, without putting in the same level of work those current drivers do, doesn't serve anyone well. Not him, not the sport, and not the fans who deserve to see real competition. That kind of honesty from Dale Earnhardt Jr. is why people respect him so much. He didn't pretend. He didn't just say he doesn't want to race anymore. He admitted he wants to, but he's also smart and self-aware enough to know what it would actually take. And while all of this is going on, Denny Hamlin is still juggling an unbelievable amount outside of just driving the number 11 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing every weekend. He is a co-owner of 2311 Racing, the team he runs alongside Michael Jordan. He is a father to 3 kids with his fiancée Jordan Fish. He hosts his own podcast, Actions Detrimental, where he shares his thoughts on the sport openly and honestly. He deals with the business side of NASCAR ownership, team management, public appearances, and everything else that comes with being one of the most prominent figures in the sport. And somehow, through all of that, he still shows up on race day and competes like a man who has nothing on his mind except winning. His contract at Joe Gibbs Racing runs through the 2027 season. That means Hamlin likely has 2 more real shots at winning the Cup Series championship, the one title that has always eluded him despite his incredible career. Based on everything we've seen from him recently, nobody should be counting him out. 20 years into his Cup Series career, Denny Hamlin is still winning races, still chasing championships, and still earning praise from people who know exactly how hard that is to do. And now, one of NASCAR's all-time greats, a man who competed alongside him for years, is standing up and saying publicly what many fans have felt for a while. Denny Hamlin is a true anomaly, and right now we are watching something special.